I grew up in Warren County, which is kind of northwest New Jersey. It's very rural up there. It's very quiet. I went to undergraduate Rutgers. I went to law school, Rutgers-Camden. I had a lot of people tell me when I was a 6-year-old that I should be a lawyer. Now, I thought that that was because, I was smart and because I made good points and that whatever. And it turns out that the reason that you tell a 6-year-old to be a lawyer is because they're argumentative and kind of annoying. And I think that that's probably what it was. But ever since then, I couldn't shake the idea that I was going to be a lawyer. And so I just went to law school because that's what I was going to do. But along the way, I did kind of get the idea that I wanted to be this person who could figure out how to help caregivers. My dad passed when I was 18. He was diagnosed with lung cancer just before Christmas in my senior year of high school, and he was gone like 8 months later. And we were caregivers for that 8 months. We were trying to take him to doctor's appointments and do what we needed to do. But I saw what it did to our family. And I said, I would love to be able to do something to help, to make that experience less traumatic for somebody. And so a lot of this is just, look at the people that you come across in your life who are affected by something, who are slowed by something, and how do you let them become family again, as opposed to the bill keeper, the bill payer, the bookkeeper, the caregiver, whatever. Like, can you be the daughter? Can you be the son? Can you be the spouse? That's what we do. That's what I do. That's kind of where my soul is. The first big pro bono case that was more than just do a will for legal services. I had some private practice experience under my belt, but not a tremendous amount. And I had this case with this woman who was in a nursing home, and she had had a stroke, and so she was paralyzed on one side. So she's in a wheelchair. It's very hard to use a wheelchair when you only have one side of your body that works. So they have these devices where you can run the wheelchair with one side of your body, okay? One-arm drive wheelchair. Well, the rotator cuff on her good side was failing, and so she couldn't operate her wheelchair. And the nursing home would not send staff to bring her around to the things that she was doing. And her room was on the downside of a small ramp, so that she couldn't actually get herself up the ramp to go to dining or to anything else. So she asked Medicaid for it. And Medicaid said no. They appealed this, this is ridiculous. They said it's not medically necessary. Like, she has one side that she can't use and the other side is not far behind. So legal services said, Carl, would you be willing to take this case? I said, sure. Advice to the younger lawyers, take those cases, because I will never, ever, ever, ever get one of those cases in private practice, because anybody who would have hired a lawyer would have just bought the chair and they wouldn't have fought with Medicaid. But there was no money. This woman was on Medicaid. The family doesn't have $10,000. They went to legal services. I won the trial. Medicaid reversed the decision because that's what they do. We took it to the appellate division. I won in the appellate division. We went back to court. I got my chair. It took 2.5 years with this woman, but she got her own chair. And she got batteries and repairs done to that chair. And for the remaining life that she had her own chair. My advice to the lawyers is, take those cases, take the weird ones, take the hard ones, take the ones you'll never ever see. I will never see another one of those cases unless I take it through legal services. And it's not that legal services attorneys couldn't have taken that case, but they have 100 more like it. So the private bar's got to pick up the slack when they can. And so, I was able to pick up that one and talk about it years later, because I still think about that lady and that case and the whole thing. And it was a great experience that way.